and welcome back to the BFA Baby podcast. Today is another episode that we are filming on location from the comfort of my own home. In fact, it is the comfort of my own bed. The studio is once again closed right before break, and that is a great segue into the fact that this is our last episode until we take a small little Christmas break from the podcast. So starting back the week of January 15th, my 20th birthday, we will resume the podcast, but from now until then, these are the last episodes. Enjoy your little winter break. Have a great time. So yeah, this is my bedroom wall in my apartment, so I thought it would be a really fun time to kind of film in a different location. Y'all saw the kitchen table last time. So yeah, we're gonna film in a different location, and I am drinking a Shirley Temple, so feel free to enjoy a Shirley with me. And I thought it would be fun to close out the Christmas break with a fun little thought experiment, fun episode. If you follow along on the podcast, Instagram, I kind of put up a little schedule, and today's episode, if you've been looking at that schedule, is we're gonna have a little thought experiment about if it was up to me, what my perfect day as a dancer would look like. And also, I've enabled like a little Q&A function down below in the show notes on Spotify, and I'm gonna ask you what your perfect day as a dancer would look like. As a dancer, an actor, performer, filmmaker, anything, your perfect day as an artist, let me know below. Maybe I'll read some in the next episode. Yes, any other things? Yes, over break, I plan to start working on getting the podcast out on more platforms. I really have a goal to come back from break with all the podcasts, like podcast on all platforms, so everyone can enjoy some BFA Baby. So yeah, let's just kind of hop into it. I have little notes on my phone as always, and kind of like small little explanations as to why I picked what. So snuggle up in bed perhaps, and let's get reading. So my perfect day as a dancer starts, it's fall and or early winter. And I think that it being fall and early winter. All right, we are back on the podcast. My roommate was working a competition in my hometown, and we called and talked about it. Cause by the time I met her, I no longer lived there, so she's kind of seeing everything I grew up around. I literally have no idea what I was talking about before that. Oh, we're talking about my perfect day as a dancer. Leave it in the Q&A part down below in the show notes, and drinking a Shirley Temple. So let's get right into it. So first of all, my perfect day as a dancer would start with the weather being fall/early winter. And I say this because I think I made a TikTok about this last year, but winter and fall ballet has a totally different vibe than spring-summer ballet. Not that one is inherently better or worse, but the vibe is just so different. And I almost prefer the winter-fall vibe because it's just like, you got that fresh start, new semesters, grind mode on, and I like that feeling. In summer's a little more chillax, whatever. So I like that grind mode feeling on. Also, I like being able to wear leotards that have long sleeves. I like lots of warm-up layers. Like the ballet fashion, if that's something you're aiming for, the ballet fashion of early fall winter is also very fun and a really great time. So definitely fall, early winter, like weather outside-wise. So my day would start with morning ballet, about a 90-minute class. And theoretically, in a perfect world, this would be like a company class with all my friends, and we just take a little class. And the class would be very, very adagio and turns focused. I'm a big adagio girl. You will not catch me doing any petit allegro. Nope, not for it. It would be very adagio, very turns focused, just kind of very floaty and pretty, but like strong at the same time. Yeah, so we'd have like a morning ballet class, turns an adagio. I think also it would be fun if it was in a studio that had like huge windows. So the studio that I grew up in didn't have windows. Like it had windows like in the lobby, but it was like a warehouse. It used to be a warehouse. So we're in this one big warehouse, and the biggest studio, which was all the way in the back, didn't have any windows. And every single time I've been to a studio that has windows, it just completely blows my mind because it's just so not what I grew up with. So I think that in my perfect day as a dancer, I would be in a studio that has windows, and the studio that has windows, and it would be like, they'd be open, and it would be like a pretty fall, early winter. Like, it wouldn't be dreary or rainy or gross. Like, it would just be pretty weather. You know, the windows are big, we're all dancing. Definitely, like, on the portable bars, though. Like, we moved the bars to the center type beat is definitely, like, what would be going on here. So then, after morning ballet, I would love to jump right into a rehearsal. This could be, obviously, if it's fall, early winter, we're thinking Nutcracker, we're thinking, you know, something else in the winter repertoire. Giselle has big fall winter vibes. Ruby's, I think, has big fall winter vibes because, like, Valentine's Day in February. You know, we would go into a rehearsal preparing for a show that has that, like, fall winter energy. It would be a full cast, and it'd be a lot of fun. And obviously, I'd be playing a principal role. So let me pick a show that I want to be rehearsing. I mean, I love Ruby's. I think it would have to be Ruby's. It would have to be Ruby's, and I would very much love to be Tall Girl in Ruby's. So yeah, let's stick with that. We're rehearsing Jules. I am Tall Girl in Ruby's, and the core of, like the Diamonds core. Let's say that. I'm Tall Girl in Ruby's and in the Diamonds core, and we're rehearsing that. So in the morning rehearsal, I would like to start with Tall Girl Ruby's, because when we would do these 2-a-days, you know, back like for Nutcracker, we would always do like Act 1 and Act 2, or like full show, and it just depending on like how close we were to like going up. But I think when we're doing, because it's my perfect day, we would do like one dance in the morning and one dance in the evening. So I think I'd like to start with Tall Girl because I'm fresh out of class, you know, I'm in my cute outfit, you know, my long sleeves. I think I would love to start with Tall Girl. Also, like, the Ruby's music and the Ruby's costumes, I mean, not that the Diamonds costumes and music don't, like, get me hype, but, like, those just really do it for me. Ruby's just is beautiful and amazing. So I think we would definitely start with a Ruby's rehearsal right after class. Like, straight into class, change the point shoes. We are into Ruby's rehearsal. So we would rehearse Ruby's for, like, I would say 2.5 hours. And at that break, I would like to have a lunch break. This being said, it would have to be a long enough lunch break that I could then go to, like, a cafe bistro, okay? It's just, you don't get that kind of time, and I love a good little coffee, I love a good little lunch, a soup salad sandwich type beat, love to do that. And also, I think that this is just me being, like, I just want that kind of time between rehearsals. I think I would really want that. So let's call it like a 90-minute lunch break, because that's enough time to like cool down and get yourself out of the space, and then, you know, go eat, and then enough time to come back and like digest and re-warm up. So yeah, so I would go to like a cafe bistro on my lunch break, and I think that at the cafe bistro, I'd obviously get a coffee. I'd get a coffee, some kind of latte. I've been having hazelnut coffee lately. I was gifted a bag of hazelnut coffee, and it's very good. So I think I'd get a hazelnut latte, because that's what I've been drinking a lot of recently. And then I would get like a half salad, half sandwich type thing. I'm thinking like a more local McAllister's, a more local bread company. You know, like hole in the wall type. You know, it's where all the artists go. So I think I would get, like, half a salad, half a sandwich, and it would be, like, I'd have to do something really good. Like, I'm thinking, like, Pickleman's has, like, an Italian chop salad that I love. So, like, something in that vein. And then I think my sandwich would be, like, some type of club. Like, there'd be ham, cheese, lettuce, perhaps some turkey, tomato, cucumber. Like, there'd be a tall sandwich. So we'd have this tall sandwich, and we'd have this salad, and we'd drink with my coffee. Perhaps get a lemon water while we're there at the bistro. You know, when we're eating all the food and we're drinking the coffee. And life is just good. You know, perhaps there's a window at the bistro. We're people watching, perhaps. And I think it would just be, like, a good chill break. Perhaps, like I said, perhaps we're people watching. Maybe this would be a time for me to, like, work on a side hustle. Write, I don't know, do something, like, while I'm eating. Edit a vlog, edit a podcast. Like, I would get something else done while I'm eating / people watching at this bistro. So then I would finish eating, and I would go back to the studio. And like I said earlier, I would have enough time to digest and re-warm up. And this is kind of one of those, this has got to be one of those, like, silly re-warm up moments where, like, you know, it's on your own, you know. Because for the first rehearsal, you came from class. Like, you were building up. But, you know, you're on your own to get yourself warm again. You and some friends kind of team up and get each other warm. And I just think those are, like, the best times. Like, when I was young and I was in high school and stuff and doing Nutcracker, and we would have, like, those Act 1, Act 2, or, like, 2 full run days with, like, the break in between. That second warm-up process was always, like, so much fun because it was just, you know, like, you're fresh off eating something, hopefully eating something, and getting some energy back. You know, you're running on the high of hopefully a good run before the break, and, like, you're just laughing with your friends and you're having a good time and you're all getting warm, but it's just, like, a great cast bonding moment, and I just love it. So we'd have a good little bonding re-warm up moment, and then obviously go into our second rehearsal. Now, because we rehearsed Rubies in the morning, our second rehearsal would have to be Diamond Core. We would have Diamond Core, Life Would Be Good. Perhaps it's, like, a partial dress, like a surprise partial dress. Like, I always loved when we would be in rehearsal and be like, hey, go throw your crown on real quick, or you can hold your real wand this time, you know, if you have, like, a practice wand, or, you know, go throw your tutu on real quick. Like, surprise last-minute dress rehearsal elements, and it's, like, everything else, but then you have, like, a big-ass crown on. Like, I think that is so funny. And also just, you know, it's a good time. It's a good way to kind of, you know, amp up the energy a little bit more. So I think that we would have, like, a surprise dress rehearsal element, and it would be, like, we would get there, and then it would be, like, oh, hey, we finished adjusting all your guys' crowns. Can you go put them on and wear them for rehearsal today? Tell us how they feel. Like, it would be something like that for sure during the Diamonds rehearsal. So then Diamonds rehearsal would go on for, again, like, 2.5 hours. And after rehearsal, we would all come together as a cast and have notes. I love notes. I think I like hearing what our directors have to say, especially if we have, like, a large creative team, what the large creative team has to say, like, differing opinions. I like hearing, you know, what they say about the castmates, because obviously every single correction is a correction that you can also apply to yourself. I think that notes are a great learning opportunity, and my biggest piece of advice for kids growing up in the arts, future BFA babies, whatever you want to call it, my biggest piece of advice is learn how to take notes seriously and gracefully, and off of that, learn how to take and apply notes that were not directly given to you. Which, like, you've had your teacher say your entire life. Like, if I give a note to someone, also apply it to yourself, you know? And I think that obviously it's easier to, like, think about in class. You know, if you're going across the floor and you're the second group, and someone in group 1, she's like, oh, you know, come out really strong on that entrance, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna come out really strong on my entrance when I go. I think that's a little more, like, your brain's like, yeah, of course. But learn to take notes that are given during notes sections that are also applicable to you. Obviously, if it's a note that's a very specific note that's like, I'm not doing that, then obviously you don't have to take it. But I think within every note that there is something that everybody can learn. So, like, when I did Sugar Plum twice, talked about it on the channel, talked about it on the podcast. When I did Sugar Plum, you know, there is that, you know, no one else is doing that variation, you know? No one else is doing Sugar Plum. I am the only person doing Sugar Plum. Whereas, like, if you're in Snowcore, you know, there's 12 other girls that are in Snowcore with you. So even if, like, if we were at notes and, you know, our director was like, hey, Taylor, you know, during your runs on stage, your little wrist flicks at the beginning, whatever, like, be sharp, be purposeful with those. I'd be like, yes, thank you. And then I think also, like, that would be a good time for the girls in Snowcore. Could that have a little bit of similar actions, similar steps? You know, that could be like a note, like, I don't do exactly the same thing, but that sharpness can mirror the sharpness at this other part in my piece. So learning how to take notes and really just juicing the most out of everyone's notes is really important, and something that I say to, like, everyone, like, if they ask me for advice. Also, learn how to take notes gracefully. Learn how to take notes gracefully. I am absolutely so bad at taking a compliment. I'm so bad at it, always have been. So if it's the note that's a compliment, I'm getting better at taking those, being like, thank you. And if it's a note about, like, something I can work on, thank you. Even if it's a note that I don't technically agree with, thank you, and I'm willing to try it. You know, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But just learn how to gracefully take all types of notes. It will get you very far. You know, there's always that person in your cast that wants to argue or be like, well, that happened because of this thing that was out of my control. And it's like, dude, it's not that deep. Like, just take your notes gracefully, please. So yeah, of course, we would have notes, and we would take them gracefully, and we would take notes from every other person's notes, and that's just such a good learning experience. Like, I just love having that learning experience. So after notes, I think that we would wrap. I would be done. We've had like 5-6 hours of rehearsal that day. We would wrap for the day. We would cool down in the space, though. You know, we'd massage gun, we'd roll out, perhaps layer up some icy hot, while we then pull on our winter layers again. See, we're in winter. So, and of course, we're in a big city. We're in a big city, and the sun has started to set out those windows. Like, the sun was probably coming up when we got to the studio, and now it is starting to set. And we would walk home. We would either walk or subway home. And in my perfect vision day, as we're walking home, we pass an ad for the ballet, for Jules, and we're on it. I say we, me, I'm on it. I have this, like, unrealized, I want to be the face of something. And it's so silly, and it probably sounds so vain, but, like, isn't it so fun? Wouldn't it be so fun to pass, like, an advert for your company, like your ballet company, and it's you, like, you're the ballerina? So in my perfect day, I would then, on my way home, pass an advert for Jules, and I would be the ballerina on it, or, like, one of the three. You know, if we have, like, a Jules, Emeralds, Diamonds girl. Jules, if we have a Rubies, Emeralds, Diamonds girl. I would be tall girl, of course. And I just think that would be so fun to be like, that's me. Perhaps take a silly little selfie by it. I think that would be a lot of fun. So, yeah, definitely would pass an advert on the way home. So then when I get home, obviously I'm big, like, you know, you shower, you kind of clean yourself of the day, get in some comfy clothes. I, in my perfect world, would come home and shower, take like a hour power nap, and then go and see a show, like, that evening. You know, it is my perfect world, so I can very obviously, you know, time would work out, so I would have enough time to come home and shower and change and power nap and then get ready and re-prettied up to go see the show in the city. So I think that I just love seeing shows. I know we talked about this in our New York episode, the brain dump a week or two ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, because last week was with Caroline. Shout out Caroline. I know for a fact you're listening to this. Shout out Caroline, love you. Yeah, so we would get all dolled up, we shower, take a nap, get all dolled up, and then we would go and we would see a show. I think that I would want this show to be a musical, like a Broadway musical, and it would have to be something. I would love to see Moulin Rouge. Yeah, let's say we'll see Moulin Rouge. And there's just such great dancing and performance, and I just love Moulin so much. I could speak its praises all day. Literally, one of my Brooklyn charms on my Brooklyn charm necklace is a windmill for Moulin Rouge. I love Moulin. So we would go see Moulin Rouge, and it would just be like a fun little nightcap. We had all the best things of the day, all the best things that I love. So it would start with morning ballet and end with Moulin Rouge. We'd get to bed at a decent time, wake up and do it all over again, which I think would be like the best day ever, full of all the things that we know and love and everything. So yeah, that was kind of a short little chat, but I wanted to round out this podcast episode before our break talking about both this podcast as well as my YouTube channel. Obviously, the podcast comes out both on Spotify and on my YouTube channel, but my YouTube channel isn't just these podcast episodes. There's other videos that I put out. So I recently just put out a stage makeup tutorial a la Cat Steele, talking about how when I played Tinkerbell in high school, and I kind of paid homage to the makeup that I did back then. And I've also done one with Sugar Plum and all kinds of fun stuff. So there's a series like that going on, and I would just love to see what kind of content you guys would like to see in the new year. I'm going into my junior year. Would you like to see more BFA content? Would you like to see more creative makeup videos like the one that I posted, kind of blending makeup and the arts? Would you like to see full classes? I have some dance fitness classes on there, follow along at home classes. But I could do ballet classes, point classes. Would you like me to teach a combo like we're in a class and kind of at home classes? Would you like more talk about the industry, interviews? Then I could also work those into the podcast. What would you guys like to see from the YouTube channel in the new year? Because I'm always looking for new ideas. I'm always looking for content that you guys want to watch. So yeah, definitely shout out. You can put it in the show comments. You can DM the Instagram at BFA Baby Podcast. Just kind of shout out all good things. Anything content-wise that you want to see, content that you don't want to see. Because I want to make content that both fills my cup, but also fills your cup creatively. And I think that creating content, especially YouTube and this podcast, has been a really great example of full creative freedom that really, rejuvenates me and hopefully rejuvenates you as a listener. So definitely shout out some content you'd like to see. I'd love to kind of work on it. And yeah, New Year content, what do you want to see? Also, this is a shout out for this podcast. What do you want to see on this podcast in the new year? BFA Baby Podcast on Instagram. Just shoot me a DM. What kind of content do you want to see? I'm trying to get some interviews lined up that I think would be really, really fun to do on the podcast. And so I have some things that I'm kind of working on behind the scenes. But what do you want to talk about? What do you want me to talk about on the podcast? We could do, like I said, I have those interviews. We could Q&A it. We could do whatever. I mean, you guys have other creative thoughts than I have. So just let me know what kind of things you want to hear on the podcast, what kind of things you want to see on the YouTube channel. And yeah, I think we're just going to have a really short episode today. Kind of good things come in small packages. And I think that's going to be a wrap. So have an amazing holiday break. I can't wait to see you guys when I get back. Tell me about your dream dance artist day in the show notes down below. And then let me know on the Instagram at BFA Baby Podcast what you want to see on the podcast, what you want to see on the YouTube channel. Thank you for following along on the journey, and I cannot wait to talk to you after break. Married in a kiss. Mwah.